It's 2026 and more e-commerce brands are pouring money on flashy things like AI creatives and UGC, TikTok shop, influencer marketing, and so on. And if you spend just 5 minutes on the internet, you'll find about 100 guys trying to sell you some course about the next big trend or the next big thing that's gonna 10x your brand overnight. But the most successful brands are the ones that ignore all the noise and focus on the one channel that owns the customer relationship, email marketing. Now, I've been in e-commerce for almost a decade. I've built and scaled 2 7-figure brands myself. I've tried every trick, every trend, every new strategy out there. And after all of that, I've realized that email marketing is and always will be the core revenue channel for every e-commerce brand. Over the last 4 years of running my email agency, I've helped over 150 e-commerce brands generate over $100 million in revenue purely from email. So I want you to listen up, because in this video, I'm gonna break down the 4 reasons why this is the time that email marketing works better than ever and why most e-com brands are completely sleeping on it. Now, let's go back a few decades to the late 90s. Back then, everyone was losing their mind over .com stocks. New internet companies every week, stocks going through the roof, and everyone saying that if you're not buying in, you're a complete idiot. And the famous American investor Warren Buffett refused to touch any of it. People literally wrote articles asking what was wrong with him, saying that he was outdated and out of touch. Barron's magazine even wrote a cover story called "What's Wrong, Warren?" suggesting that he was losing his touch. The man who's built one of the greatest fortunes in history was being publicly mocked for being outdated. But he didn't move. He kept on investing in simple, boring businesses that he understood: insurance, consumer goods, and other fundamentals. Then the bubble burst. The NASDAQ collapsed over 50% from its high, and everyone that bought into the hype pretty much lost everything. And Buffett, his profits rose 113% that same year. The guy that everyone called old-fashioned came out on top. And the exact same thing is happening in e-commerce right now. Everyone and their mom is chasing AI creatives, TikTok shop, and the next big platform. They're spending money on cold audiences that they don't even own and chasing algorithms that change literally every single week. And look, some of it's working, at least right now, but eventually the time is gonna come and the bubble is going to burst. TikTok can change its algorithm tomorrow and your reach pretty much drops overnight. Meta can double its ad costs and suddenly your ROAS just doesn't make sense anymore. A platform can literally get banned, and in fact, we've already almost seen that happen. On the other hand, the small group of brands that are quietly doing the boring thing, building their email list, sending great emails, are the brands that are going to succeed. They are the Warren Buffett of this era. I've noticed that most people think about email marketing in isolation, like it's just one channel sitting next to all these other channels. You've got ads over here, TikTok over here, influencers doing their thing over there, and then email marketing is just another box to tick. But that couldn't be more wrong. Email isn't just another channel. It's a channel that makes literally every other channel more profitable. Let's say someone sees your Facebook ad, they click the ad, they go to your site, they browse around, and then they leave without buying. Without email, that person is just gone forever. You literally paid to get them there and got nothing back. And here's what's crazy. We generate a stupid amount of money just from 2 flows alone: the browse abandonment and the checkout abandonment. These are the emails that get sent out automatically while you're sleeping to people that came to your website but left without buying. In fact, for one of the brands that we work with, we've made them over $68,000 just from the single browse abandonment flow in a span of a 30-day window. And yet a majority of the e-commerce brands that I talk to don't have any of these even set up. With a solid email system in place, that visitor gets captured. They go into a welcome sequence, they start hearing from you, they start trusting you, and a few days later, they buy. Everyone is so caught up with these new flashy trends on how to get new customers, but they're completely ignoring the fact that they already have previous customers or even potential customers who are almost close to buying, and they're just completely ignoring communication with them. Like Sam Ovens said, you're inventing things to avoid the important. And that's exactly what's happening in e-commerce right now. Brands are just overcomplicating literally everything, chasing every new trend, adding new tools, new platforms, new strategies, all to avoid the one simple thing that actually moves the needle: building a real email marketing system. So when people ask me, and I get this question all the time, should I focus on ads or should I focus on email? I tell them the same thing every time. It's not either or. One perfectly works with the other. But if you don't have email sorted first, then you're sort of just building everything on a leaky foundation. It's almost like pouring water into a bucket with holes in it. Fix the foundation first, build an email system, and then watch everything else that you're doing work so much better than it ever has. You see, running ads in 2026 is just not where it was 10 years ago. The costs are higher, the competition is fiercer, and the returns are just getting smaller and smaller. And most brands are just accepting this as the new normal, not realizing that there is a way out. The numbers tell the whole story. Let's start with Meta. In 2024, the average CPM on Meta was $11.82. By 2025, it jumped to $14.19. That means that every 1,000 people that you're reaching right now with your ads is costing you significantly more than it did just 1 year ago. And Google isn't any better. The average cost per click on Google ads went from $3.53 in 2021 to $5.26 in 2025. That's a 49% increase in just 4 years. But here's where it gets interesting, because while everyone is doubling down on acquisition, the smartest brands have figured out something that changes the entire equation. It costs 5 to 25 times more to acquire a new customer than to retain an existing one. And get this, the probability of selling to someone who's already bought from you is 60 to 70%. Think about that for a second. You have people who've already bought from you, already trust you, and already know your product. And instead of talking to them, most brands actually just ignore them completely and spend a fortune trying to find strangers. Let me put this in simple terms. Imagine 2 barbers on the same street. Same price, same haircut, same quality. The first barber spends all of his money on flyers, ads, promotions, constantly trying to find new customers. But every time someone sits in his chair, gets a great haircut, and has a great experience, he just never talks to them again. No follow-up, no reminder when it's time for their next cut, nothing. So he literally starts from zero every single month and spends more and more on marketing just to keep his chair full. Now, the second barber does something a little different. Every customer who walks in, he gets their details. He follows up. He sends a message whenever it's time for their next haircut. He even lets them know about a new service. He builds a real relationship. And those same customers come back every 4 weeks like clockwork. They even refer their friends. They become friends with the barber themselves. That's the difference between acquisition-only marketing and having a real email marketing retention ecosystem in place. And I'm not just talking about theory here. Every single brand that we've worked with came to us in that exact same situation, heavily dependent on ads and SEO, and just watching their customer acquisition costs climb every single month. And even worse, just treating email like a complete afterthought. Sunhome Saunas is a perfect example. 90% of their revenue was coming from ads and SEO. Email at the time was just bringing in around 10% of their overall revenue. Every month, they would just be spending more and more on cold audiences who didn't even know them. The moment ad costs went up, their margins completely squeezed. They had no safety net. We came in, we built their entire email system from scratch and took them from 10% of revenue coming from email to 50%. Over half of their total revenue now comes from a channel that costs a fraction of what their ads cost and that no algorithm can ever touch. And this is not the outlier. Some brands we've scaled to 55 and even up to 60% of their total revenue coming from email. So retention is the answer. We've established that. But here's the question that no one's asking. How do you actually do retention at scale without a huge team and without spending hours on it every single week? That's exactly where AI changes everything. I genuinely believe that brands that figured this out in the next 12 months are going to have a serious competitive advantage over all other brands out there. So much so that it's going to be almost impossible to compete with them. AI has not made email marketing outdated. It's actually made it more powerful than it's ever been in its history. And while every other brand is using AI to make more content, more ads, more noise, smart brands are using AI inside of their email marketing to personalize at scale in a level that was not possible 2 or 3 years ago. Think about personalization for a second. Old school email personalization was just putting someone's first name in the subject line. That was it. And for a while it worked okay. But in the last few years, AI has taken personalization to a whole new level. Take Klaviyo, for example, which is the platform that we use for all of our clients. Klaviyo's AI is now watching what every single person on your list is actually doing. What products they clicked on, what they bought, what they browsed and didn't buy, and what they're likely to buy next based off of what similar people have done. And then it uses that information to send the right email to the right person at the exact right time without you having to step in and figure all of it out. Everyman Jack, a men's grooming brand, used Klaviyo's predictive analytics to send campaigns out based on each subscriber's unique next order date and lifetime value. In just 90 days, 12.4% of their total revenue was being driven directly from these AI-powered predictive segments, not from their new ads or new products, just from emailing the right people at the right time. And the most important part is that none of this works unless you know exactly what you're doing. Because all the time, I see 2 different types of brands out there. The first type has gone all in on AI literally for everything. AI writes their emails, AI runs their strategy, AI pretty much makes every decision for them. They press the a button and walked away thinking that AI is just gonna solve all of their problems. And what's happening? Everything is sounding the same. Their brand has lost their voice and their customers can feel it. Now, I'm not saying that you run the complete opposite direction and do everything manually, because you are gonna be left behind by the brands that know exactly how to use it the right way. Think of it like this. You're in the kitchen and you're having someone help you cook. They're fast, they're capable, they can handle an enormous amount of work. But if you just say, make me a lasagna and walk away, then you're gonna be getting something completely mediocre, because they don't know your recipe. They don't know your ingredients. They don't know your standards. But if you come in and say, hey, this is what we're making, this is the recipe, these are the ingredients, and this is how it's gonna taste amazing, then suddenly the same person is gonna make this lasagna taste incredible. That's AI and email marketing. The capability is enormous, but it's only as good as the knowledge and direction that you give it. If you don't understand email strategy, customer psychology, and actually what gets people to open, click, and buy, then AI is just gonna produce mediocre work just at a faster rate. But if you combine real email marketing knowledge with AI, you can produce more emails, better emails, more personalized emails, and at a faster rate than your competition, all while sounding completely human, still keeping your brand voice and still building real relationships with your customers. Now look, by this point, I think it's pretty clear. Email marketing is not dead. Quite frankly, it's probably the biggest opportunity in e-commerce right now. But here's the thing. Knowing that email marketing is important just isn't enough. The difference between the brands doing 10% of email revenue and the brands doing 50, 55, 60% of revenue doesn't just come down to awareness. It's about having the right systems and the right strategies in place. The right flows, the right sequence, the right strategies that come all together to make sure that you're nurturing and educating your customers on your list. That's what actually moves the needle. So if you want to go deeper on the foundations, I put together a video that covers the 4 pillars that every e-commerce brand needs to focus on if they're looking to take their email marketing channel more seriously. The link to that video is down in the description. And if you're ready to go even deeper than that, then I have a free resource called the Email Revenue Playbook. Literally everything that I've learned about email marketing in the last 10 years. The exact strategies and frameworks that we use every single day to generate millions of dollars across multiple brands that we work with. Much more detailed than anything that I can cover in a video. So if you want to grab it, the link is in the description. Just click the link down below. That's it for today. I'll see you in the next one.